Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis gives a post-Irma assessment in the House of Assembly.
A family now left to pick up the pieces of that 16-year-old boy who was found dead last night.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Topping news. Following an unprecedented emergency evacuation last week, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis asserted in Parliament today there is little to no doubt that the death toll due to Hurricane Irma would have increased if Ragged Island residents weren't ordered to get out ahead of the storm. Jasmine Brown reports.
During his address, the Prime Minister addressed a number of concerns following Hurricane Irma, including those voiced by Ragged Island residents, as the Prime Minister now says the island will be rebuilt.
I assure the wonderful people of Ragged Island that their island will be rebuilt. In partnership with the residents of Ragged Island, my government proposes to transform Ragged Island into the first fully green island in the region.
Dr. Minnis' comments come amid pushback from some Ragged Island residents who objected to claims that their island has been deemed unlivable. The Prime Minister traveled to Ragged Island on Monday, and due to the widespread devastation caused by the dangerous Category 5 hurricane, he declared that the island is uninhabitable and called for the remaining residents to leave. Today, he said government would evacuate those who want to leave by Thursday. He also revealed that those who evacuated ahead of the storm will be allowed to return to retrieve personal items not destroyed in the storm. Minnis says the fact is there is a lot of work to do in Ragged Island, and the government cannot do it alone.
Ragged Island will have to be rebuilt, through a combination of private and public efforts. I am pleased that Ragged Islanders throughout the Bahamas have come forward to offer their assistance for recovery and rebuilding.
The Prime Minister had also promised to bring mandatory evacuation legislation to Parliament today, but he explained his administration decided to consult the Bahamian people first. In addition to working on that legislation, Minnis also revealed he has directed NEMA to establish an evacuation manual.
With protocols and requirements for evacuation based on the type, direction, and strength of the hurricane, where to be evacuated, the role of curfews, the role of the police, defense force, and ensuring complete protection and minimize the possibility of looting.
While acknowledging that global warming is increasing hurricane risk around the world, Minnis said as a low-lying small island developing state, the Bahamas must develop a new mindset. Minnis said in recent years it has become more evident that many buildings in the Bahamas are not up to code.
We need buildings that can withstand an Irma. We cannot be in the business of saving money over saving lives. Unfortunately, there are also some buildings that are built and owned by the government of the Bahamas that are being found wanting with regard to code standards. In light of the increasingly power and frequency of hurricanes, I am therefore asking the Minister of Works to review our building codes.
Ahead of Hurricane Irma, the Prime Minister repeatedly warned merchants about price gouging. He reported today that several cases have been confirmed and the guilty parties will be prosecuted. He also confirmed today that approximately 100 people were displaced as a result of that tornado in Freeport on Sunday, and that 411 residents from coastal areas of Grand Bahama evacuated those low-lying areas. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
An exigency order is now in effect for those islands hardest hit by Irma. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest announced in Parliament today that the order came into effect on September 11th and ends on March 10th. Turnquest explained the products that fall under the order.
Building materials, electrical fixtures and materials, plumbing fixtures and materials, household furniture, furnishings and appliances, bottled water, which is permitted for a period of 60 days, commencing the 11th day of September 2017, and generators.
Government is also waiving departure tax for non-commercial flights, bringing in relief supplies and customs processing fees for 3 months. The islands benefiting from the orders are Acklins, North and South Bimini, Crooked Island, Grand Bahama, Great and Little Inagua, Long Key, Mayaguana, Ragged Island, and South Andros. Well, after fleeing Inagua last week to ride out the dangerous storm in New Providence, residents of that island were happy to return home today on 3 Bahamas Air flights organized by the government. Our News spoke with Inagua resident Elva Morley, who had been waiting at Lynden Pindling International Airport since 5:30 a.m. She says they were instructed to get to the airport for 6 a.m., only to be informed they were actually scheduled to leave on the 1 p.m. flight. As she was heading home, Morley said she is experiencing a mixture of emotions.
I have a feeling what to look for because I understand one of my roofs blew off. So I'm a bit frustrated. And I really want to get home because I miss home. So I just want to get there to see what damages was done so I can know what I have ahead of me. I'm just hoping the government would assist us in at least materials or, something like that.
Approximately 1,500 residents of the Southern Islands traveled to New Providence ahead of Hurricane Irma's passage last week after the Prime Minister ordered an emergency evacuation. After spending 8 days in the capital, Inagua residents Cassandra Delancey and Curtis Cox say they're happy to go home.
I mean, I'm excited to go home, but tired, ready to just get it over with.
I had some friends up there I left, so I feel good because they tell me my house only gets some shingle damage, roof damages, you know what I mean? So I feel pretty good going back home.
What plans do you have to get everything back together now that the storm has passed?
Oh, well, when I go home, I'll assess my damages and see what's happening.
Cox says while his home only had minimal damage, his employer of nearly 40 years, Morton Salt, wasn't so lucky. Hurricane Irma caused major damage to the facility just months after its operations had fully recovered from the damage caused by Hurricane Matthew in October of last year.
You get tear right up. So how come you get tear right up? Millions of dollars. And they just spent like $40 million on the loaning facility before I left. In fact, the contractors just leave about 2 weeks before I left. Completed it, and the hurricane came right back, and
So you guys will be returning to work?
Well, I don't know that, but I'm just going back to check my property.
Well, residents of Crooked Island are also back home tonight after returning on 2 organized flights. The first group of Crooked Island evacuees boarded a Sky Bahamas flight at Lynden Pindling International Airport around 7 this morning. Crooked Island sustained minimal damage during the storm. The Prime Minister and other senior government officials visited the island on Monday before giving the all-clear for residents who evacuated last week to return home. Well, following reports that Hurricane Irma triggered a $234,000 payout from the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, the leader of the official opposition, Philip Brave Davis, asked the Minnis administration to make public how much the government spent on the policy's premium. Davis posed the question as he addressed Parliament this morning.
The Prime Minister did indicate that they had re-engaged the insurance. The question I'd asked was, well, what was the premium paid in respect to that re-engagement? One. And then I was advised that there was an article in one of the business sections this morning that suggested that the Bahamas would be getting $234,000 from the CREF, or the CCREF insurance.
The CCREF policy was canceled under the previous administration. Standing to his feet, the Prime Minister said Davis would get the answers he sought at a later date.
Mr. Speaker, and I am certain that the member quite rightly knows that commercial communications are not supposed to be controversial, and I've stuck down the road. I stayed on I-95. I did not deviate. But during the last sitting, you had asked for us to table the evidence of their cancellation. You will have that when we come back next week. The questions that you asked, we are a government of transparency. Believe me, you will get your answers.
In other news, a family now left devastated after the death of a 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed last night. Police reported the murder happened around 11 p.m. April Sands has more.
That 16-year-old boy was found dead right here in Fox Hill. The grandmother explained to us that a gunman was in some nearby bushes and fired around 6 shots last night, leaving her grandson dead at the scene. This grandmother was inconsolable last night after her 16-year-old grandson was gunned down in her backyard. Speaking with our news one day after the shooting incident, Miriam Brennan said she was in her bedroom when she heard gunshots being fired outside her home on Bryce Street, Fox Hill.
All I hear is the gun bullets going bow, 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 bow. Okay? I saw somebody run to there, but where people run to that yard, but this one running, I don't think nothing funny. So when I look, when I get up, I say, my child go, so she said, let's walk on the yard because the person run through, let's see what happened. When they look, my grandson was laying down there between the wall like this, dead.
Brennan claims the gunman was on foot and ran after hiding in bushes in the family's backyard. Residents then made the frantic call to police, who arrived on the scene a short time later.
Sometime after 12 midnight tonight, the police received reports of apparent gunshot in the area here at Bryce Street, Fox Hill. Subsequently, officers came to the scene and they confirmed those reports. On conducting further inquiries, they were led to the lifeless body of a male who were lying just behind a house at this location.
Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash of the Central Detective Unit says police have no motive at this time.
The only information we are working with is that the deceased was in this area when relatives heard apparent gunshot reports. They checked in the rear of the house and they discovered the male who were lying lifeless.
And the teen victim has been identified by relatives as Jeffrey Wright. His grandmother says she doesn't understand why anyone would want to take his life.
You know, troublesome person, nice manly child. He wasn't no troublesome person, and he don't bother people. He wasn't like that. Okay? Person in church, grew up in church. Went to the state of Grammy, came back over and supposed to go back to the state of Grammy. He was in no trouble.
And now this heartbroken family is left to pick up the pieces.
He wasn't troublesome. He liked to eat plenty. But he's my second grandson. Second one. I can see him right now.
When our news visited the crime scene today, police were in the area conducting a walkabout. They called on anyone with information to come forward. This latest incident pushes the country's murder count for the year to 102. Reporting for our news, I'm April Sands.
Still to come on our news, what caused massive flooding in downtown Nassau yesterday? Plus, Bahamas deploys the technical teams to the impacted islands. Stay with us.
No one does summer like we do. It's just a way of life. Light it up. We're free. Come close to me. Come feel the heat. Light it up. We're free. Come close to me. Together we light it up.
The sun sets on another summer, but our offers never end. Double data, all day, every day, forever. We are alive.
Back to school will soon be here, and Commonwealth Bank wants to know, are you set? Get set for school expenses with a quick, easy personal loan. The cash you need for tuition, books and supplies, school shopping, and more. Get fast approval and great service, plus your choice of MasterCards. You could even win weekly cash prizes and a $5,000 grand prize. So get cash and get set at Commonwealth Bank. Visit us for your back-to-school loan.
Do you use your credit card as a necessity rather than a convenience? Do you borrow money from coworkers, friends, and family, or anyone who's willing to lend it? Do you worry that you won't have enough money to pay your bills? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may be headed for a credit crisis. Fidelity Bank can help. With our Debt Saver loan, we can get you out of the crisis and on the road to financial recovery. Don't wait. Call or visit a Fidelity branch today to find out more. Fidelity, we're good for you.
New chick and share, perfectly made for two. For two, but one is enough. Yeah, it's for two.
Some things are better made for two, like the new Chicken Share from KFC. 5 delicious pieces of chicken, original popcorn chicken, or 12 hot wings in a bucket, made for two for just $11.99 each. KFC Nassau, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good.
An investigation has been launched at the Ministry of Works into what caused extensive flooding through parts of New Providence yesterday afternoon. While flooding is nothing new in New Providence, the Ministry of Works is looking for answers to somehow bring a resolution.
This is ridiculous. The people car, it's a waste of drainage. There is no drainage. The people cars underwater.
When there's high tide, the water's going to come up. There's no drainage system in the world. When we get high tide, we get the rains that can stop that.
The images tell the tale. Rainwater rising up to the hood of vehicles, which were stranded along some roadways as workers found creative ways to leave work, like hopping on the back of trucks. Flooding is an issue that has plagued New Providence for decades after heavy rainfall. Along East Bay Street, the road virtually turned into a river within minutes. Works Minister Desmond Bannister said he has assigned a drainage engineer in his ministry to look at what happened yesterday and give a full report as to what caused the flooding.
We're looking to see what was the cause of the problem yesterday, whether it had anything to do with the tides, what was the issues that were involved, and we're going to address those. But we have to remember the genesis of this whole area and the fact that nature often comes back to reclaim its own.
In the meantime, the minister said he has asked those employed to clear the drains throughout New Providence. We've all passed drains on the side of the roads filled with muck and garbage. Bannister says it's important those tasked with keeping them clear know the importance of their job.
When they do that and they keep the drains clean, then certainly we ought not to try to blame them for the issues of flooding that we see, which come about for other reasons other than plain drainage. So if they've done their job, I'm very pleased with it. If they've not done their job, I will find out.
But it's not just East Bay. Areas like Pinewood Gardens are also prone to flooding. The previous Christie administration had looked at completely revamping the drainage system in that area. We asked the Works Minister about that as well.
Pinewood Gardens drainage is a multi-million-dollar project. It's going to be a very expensive project. It's going to involve government having to take back some land. It is a very extensive project, and we're going to have to budget the funds to be able to do it.
Efforts continue to restore cable services on islands hit by Hurricane Irma. A technical team from Cable Bahamas Limited was deployed to Inagua and Long Island on Monday to begin an initial damage assessment and subsequent restoration of CBL's network. Chief Executive Officer John Gomez says while he is pleased with the rapid restoration of REV services on New Providence and Eleuthera, he anticipates a longer process on some of the impacted islands. He noted that the telecoms company would have to wait until down poles and power lines are restored before Cable Bahamas can even initiate a connection. CBL's network was impacted on Bimini, Inagua, Grand Bahama, Mayaguana, Morris Island, Ragged Island, and Rum Key. Gomez says their teams will do whatever it takes to restore service to Cable Bahamas customers. Still to come on our news, local educators observe Character Day. Stay with us.
Home Design Center, Grand Bahama's #1 home store, carrying the best in appliances, flooring, tiles, TVs, carpets, furniture, lighting, botanicals, household wear, and much more. Located in the Gold Rock Complex past Coral Road. Give us a call at 351-6561 or visit our website at homedesigncenterfreeport.com. HDC, where we make your house a home.
What are you doing?
Calling the bank to order more checks.
Go to epbahamas.com and order your checks from Executive Printers.
Executive Printers. We're the authority in business and personal check printing in the Bahamas. Come in and see one of our specialists or visit us online at epbahamas.com to design and order your checks today.
Every day, people suffer from some sort of joint pain.
To put on my socks, to bend over, to put on I used to have, it was really pain. I don't have it anymore.
If you've been living in pain and you're tired of trying products that just don't work, you are not alone. Today, 1.5 billion people worldwide are living in chronic pain. Don't let pain deny you the life you deserve. Join hundreds of thousands of Omega XL users that have chosen to fight inflammation and get rid of pain. Now they're living a pain-free life to the fullest thanks to Omega XL, the all-natural anti-inflammatory that has more available omega-3s than regular fish oil. Get more benefits in a powerful gel capsule that is smaller, easier to swallow, and more convenient. Switch to Omega XL and experience results you can feel. Put an end to your pain with Omega XL. Visit your local pharmacy or health food stores and get your Omega XL today.
This is what it feels like. You now, this is what it feels like.
The Carl's Jr. definition of a boss is a person who exudes confidence, turns heads, and grabs big challenges with two hands. That's why we created the Boss Burger and the Double Boss Burger with Thousand Island sauce, grilled onions, Swiss and American cheese on 100% ground beef and a sesame seed bun. Pull up to any of Carl's Jr.'s 3 locations. The only question we will ask you is, do you feel like a boss or a double boss today?
I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss.
Eat like you mean it.
The Bahamas joins 118 other countries around the world today in observing Character Day. The global initiative targets educators from the kindergarten to tertiary levels and aims to push the importance of developing character while building qualities like humility, empathy, bravery, and social responsibility. President of PACE, Sonia Brown, was instrumental in bringing Character Day to the Bahamas.
When we became aware of Character Day, we thought, well, why don't we bring this to everybody in the Bahamas if we can, specifically focusing on students who are in school because you have a captive audience.
During a recent Character Day workshop for local educators, coordinator and veteran educator Charlene Carey challenged teachers to help bring out the best in their students.
The same way you have students that are sitting in your classrooms, that are sitting in your groups that have these talents that they're sitting on, and we need to give them opportunities to shine.
And that's a look at news. Marcellus Hall is up next with the Check on Sports.